Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the webinar series, Women Empowering Women, presented by the Personal Development Committee of the National Bar Association Women Lawyers Division. We are so happy to have you here with us this evening. On behalf of the Personal Development Committee, I would like to first of all give a very special thanks to the president of the National Bar Association, C.K. Hoffler, and the chair of our Women Lawyers Division, Sharon Bridges. We are very appreciative of the opportunity to share with all of our members and the larger audience as well on this Women Empowering Women series. This particular series is a financial health series. We're extremely excited about it. My name is Kimberly Ann Ward. I, along with my co-chair and co-moderator, Winter Wheeler, we will be guiding you through this hour and a half. We're very excited. We have three exceptional women with us, all from Detroit, my hometown. So these women are here, they're experts in the field of finance. We have Lorraine McCurdy, who's a compensation specialist. We have Shirley Kegler, who specializes in tax, succession planning, and retirement planning as well. And then we also have Gail Perry Mason. Gail Perry Mason is an author, a best-selling author, and then she also is a financial investment advisor. We are looking forward to this evening. I just want to give you guys a bit of a housekeeping info. So if you do have questions, please type them in the Q&A, and our panelists will be able to see the questions. We'll be able to take those and hopefully get you all the information that you need. The topic for this evening is Our Fair Share, Practical Tips to Negotiate Salaries and Grow Your Money. So our panelists are going to do just that. They're going to give you practical tips to show you how to get that money that you deserve through negotiating the salaries, practical tips to growing your money through investment, and practical tips to maintaining with financial estate planning and succession planning. And at this point in time, we are going to move on to introductions of our panelists. Before we move into that, I just want to let you know that we are going to have two giveaways, very exciting giveaways. So that will happen thanks to our gracious panelists. We're going to start with Lorraine McCurdy. I'm going to pass it over to my co-moderator, Winter Wheeler.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you, Kim, for your lovely introduction and for your hard work on this webinar in particular. I really appreciate you and I appreciate everyone watching. And of course, I appreciate our guests. And so I have the privilege of introducing Lorraine McCurdy. Lorraine began her career in banking, financial services, and later transitioned to human resources with a focus on the compensation discipline, as she felt the compensation specialty aligned with her background and provided the opportunity for alignment with the organization's goals and objectives. A graduate of Nova Southeastern University, and from South Florida too, Lorraine earned her bachelor's degree in management and later a master's in business administration. She went on to pursue a Master of Science in Human Resources Management at Florida International University, FIU. While at FIU, she served as the president of the local chapter of the Society of Human Resources. Lorraine is a certified compensation professional, global remuneration professional, and professional in human resources. She is a member of World at Work, the Association for Total Rewards Professionals, and the Society for Human Resources Management. A results oriented compensation professional with over 15 years of experience in broad based compensation spanning multiple industries, both nationally and globally. Lorraine has worked with organizations varying in size from 800 to 65,000 employees. Lorraine has a passion for excellence and a commitment to the provision of superior customer service, which is the platform for which she serves the human core of any organization. Thank you and welcome, Lorraine.
Thank you, Lorraine. And next we have Shirley Kegler. Shirley Kegler has a BA from Wayne State University, a JD from the University of Michigan Law School, and an LLM in taxation from Wayne State University Law. She's a partner in the firm Jaffe, Hauer and Weiss Professional Corporation, and she served in the estate planning, wealth planning, and probate planning practice group for over 15 years. And I might add that Shirley also has been practicing for over 45 years, which is amazing. She's focused her practice area in the areas of estate planning, tax retirement and business succession planning, probate and trust administration, and also in elder law. And in addition to her professional responsibilities, she's in the firm, she's also mentored many women attorneys, and she's been a constant in the lives of many women. And we thank her for the services that she's provided on a local level to us in Detroit, and also the services that she's provided to the National Bar Association. So we look forward to hearing from her as well. And last but not least, we have Gail Perry Mason, an award-winning best-selling author. Gail has a very interesting background, and we're so happy to have her with us. And we will provide her with some time to share a bit of her background with us this evening, but she came, just to give you a bit of a glimpse of what she's going to share. She came from the foster care system to caring for others. And one of her models is, it's not about what she does for a living, but it's what she does for a life. And she is also created a very special program. It's called Money Matters for Youth. And it's a program that she created 26 years ago to teach the youth in Detroit economic empowerment and entrepreneurship. And she also sits on numerous nonprofit boards, and she started a program, hashtag I am Forever 39, to support middle-aged women with SPICE. Hopefully you'll share some of it, a bit about that as well. She's touched thousands of lives when she founded that Money Matters for Youth program, which created the economic empowerment for underprivileged youth while changing the lives of their entire families. And she reminds everyone that in order to save our youth, we must save them first. In order to lead our youth, we must love them first. Correction, I have to get that right, because that's important. In order to save our youth, we must serve them first. In order to lead our youth, we must love them first. Gail doesn't want our youth to be poor, P-O-O-R, passed over opportunity repeatedly. And her favorite slogan is, let's give our youth opportunities on purpose. She's employed by an investment firm, but she does believe in investing in others. And you'll hear so much more about that from her. So I know those are long introductions, but we thought it was important to give you detailed information on our panelists for this evening. So without further ado, we're gonna head right into our compensation specialist. So the objective for this evening is to really give you an overview of how you can get the money that you deserve. So for so many of us as attorneys, and those of you who are judges, we definitely know how to negotiate. We are skilled in that area, but for some of us, especially women, one of the concerns is that we're excellent at negotiating for our clients, but when it comes time to negotiate for ourselves, especially with salary, we may need a little bit of guidance and some practical tips to help us get to where we need to be. So that's where why we're very happy to have Lorraine here, because that is her area of expertise, specializing in assisting and coaching women in getting the salary that they deserve. So Lorraine, please give us a bit of information. Tell us what we need to do in order to get the dollars that we deserve.
I have a long list, but you know, people ask the question all the time, why do I have to negotiate? And the answer is simple. There's always a gap between what you want and what the firm is willing to pay, or the organization, if you're going the route of corporate law. And so to bridge that gap comes negotiation. And there's some practical steps for determining how to get what you want and asking for what you want, because that's the challenge. It's not just, you know what you're worth, but how do you get it? And the first thing you want to focus on is knowing what you're worth, right? What are you worth? What do you bring to the table? What are the skills that you have that are uniquely you? And highlight those. I'd say make a list of the skills that you have so that you are able to remind yourself. Sometimes you're in an interview situation and you don't remember, oh, I should have mentioned this. Make a list, make a note. Your interviewer is coming in with questions, going with your own questions and your own notes so you don't forget it. Then do your research. The data is out there. And when you look at, there are a lot of companies that do offer the information. And I'll talk a little bit about what those companies are and how you can go about getting the information. But you want to know, what is this job worth? What are they looking for? Are they looking for someone who is fresh out of college? Are they looking for someone who is mid-career? Where are they placing this job? And that determines what you ask for. If you don't know what it's worth, you're likely going to ask for something that's lower. And I'll tell you my personal experience. I think my first comp job, I did ask for less than the company was willing to pay me. I didn't know that at the time, but later on I found out that I literally talked myself out of $5,000. Something one of my mentors taught me was, he who talks money first loses. Never mention money first. Recruiters will ask you, well, what are you looking for? You walk into a law firm, you're talking to the partners, what are you looking for? Well, what is it worth to you? Because this position is worth something. What is it worth to you? And don't feel pressured to provide a number. Because the fact is that you're bringing something to the table that they want, or you would not be sitting in that seat being interviewed or having the conversation. So they need to tell you what it's worth to them. And then don't sell yourself short. Because, sometimes you go in and you're thinking, especially if you're new, you go in and you think, oh, I want to know I just want a job. I just want a job. I want to land my first opportunity. Well, that's for sure is going to get you the opportunity, but it won't get you the salary you deserve or the salary that you would like to have. So don't sell yourself short. And like I said, don't be the first one to mention a number, and don't accept the first offer. Even if you think that offer is good, go away and think about it. Come back and ask for more. Always ask for more than you want, because there's room for negotiation, and somewhere in the middle you're going to meet, and hopefully it's more than you actually wanted, but at the very least it's the number that you wanted. And then finally, get the offer in writing. I've seen this happen a few times. You have a conversation and the conversation went well, and you think that this is the offer, and the person you're speaking with thinks it's something else. You're both not on the same page in terms of what that number is. Now you walk away, perhaps walking away from an opportunity you have because you thought that one was better. If you don't have it in writing, it's not a firm offer. And then don't be afraid to counter. And when you counter, ask for an exact number. Don't say, oh, I thought it would be more, or I was expecting more. No. Ask for what you want, because you're worth it. And in my experience, women, generally speaking, work harder than men. I don't know why that is, but we just do. And sometimes we think, well, I have to make an excuse for why I shouldn't get paid as much as the men do. Well, I have to take the kids to school. I have to, if they're sick, I'm the one who's going to stay home with them. Well, the fact is that somehow or the other, we make up for that. And so ask for what you know you're worth, and ask for what you're worth.
Can you tell us what type of services a compensation specialist provides? Because I actually spoke with some folks who didn't even know that type of position existed. So what would you provide? What type of services as a compensation coach or analyst would you provide to one of our members?
Perfect. So depends on the need. So on an individual basis, it's looking at the job, assessing the job, how much is it worth in the market? And that's dependent on industry. Are you going for a job in a law firm? Are you going for a job in a corporate environment? And that determines, how much that job is worth. But knowing that, knowing what the organization is looking for, and then also what your experience is. So I need to see the job description, summary of what the job is. And again, typically, you may not have so much information in a law firm situation, but at least a summary that will give you kind of the years of experience, because the data does break it down by years of practice. And then having your resume, because I need to be able to see what's your experience. What are some of the things that, even outside of what the job posting is asking for, what are some of the things, that additional skill set that you have that we could potentially consider in that equation to evaluate and determine what your worth is?
So when you're doing the analysis, what are you looking at? Are you using various software programs that you might have access to that we don't, because of your profession? What I would ask, are you utilizing that, we would benefit by hiring you or someone who works in the same area?
Great question, Kim. And the data is out there. So a lot of times people say, oh, I went on salary.com and I went on PayScale, and there's free data. The difference is, with compensation professionals, we have access to data that has been provided by compensation professionals. So we're confident in the data we're receiving, and we're using companies like Mercer, like Willis Towers Watson, like Aon Hewitt. That's where we're getting our data from. It's submitted by compensation professionals. So it's gone through the rigor. When you look at the free data that's out there, what you're getting is perhaps data that I reported myself. So some companies will ask, if you go to get the data, they'll say, well, are you an attorney? How many years have you been practicing? They'll ask that question, and what is your salary? Believe it or not, that data gets into their analysis, right, and it influences the data, like Glassdoor, exactly. Right. And it influences the data. And so you're not sure that what you're getting is actually relevant. The other thing is the industry. It's very important. And I'll say law firms pay more than you typically get in a corporate environment. So when you start moving from a corporate environment, from a law firm to a corporate environment, the first thing they'll tell you is, well, the only reason someone would do that is that they want work-life balance. And they'll tell you, we don't do billable hours. So these are some of the things that you have to know when you start having those conversations, and be willing to pay a little bit to get the data you need, because $250, $500, it depends, it varies depending on the situation, but it's a small price to pay to make sure that you're armed with the information that you have to year over year increase your earning potential.
So would you recommend that someone come to you while they're going through the interview process, or should they wait until they have an offer?
So it can be twofold. Depending on where they are in the interview process, they could get basic information. But when you get to the point of the offer, that's where it becomes specific. Often you're not interviewing with just one law firm or one organization. You're doing multiple. So that there's also that distinction. If you're looking at law firms specifically, you can get that data. But if you're looking at law firms and also a corporate environment, then that data is different. So the report you'll get in terms of what you should be asking for, what your value is versus what the job is worth in the market, then that is going to be different.
Okay, we have a question in the chat from Deidre Jackson. Lorraine, do you offer this service for corporate executives who are not in the law industry? I'm a healthcare executive.
I do. So my experience, in addition to providing the service, I do work in a corporate environment, and I have for several years. So you're also getting the benefits of that knowledge on the corporate side and also on the consulting side. I will provide data for any industry, across any state in the US.
Wonderful.
We have a few more questions. How do you respond when a job ad requests that you state your salary requirement when you submit your application? That's a good question.
Typically I would say negotiable. There is sometimes it does allow you to put 0, just do 0.00 or 1.
Really?
Figure out what that number is, because that is not information. We're not at the point of negotiation. I'm not about to tell you what I want. Again, he who speaks money first loses. So you walk in and you say you want $100,000 and they were willing to offer 125. You've literally just talked yourself out of $25,000.
Yeah, I've had that experience as well, where before I've even gone for an interview, they want me to fill out some paperwork. What do you want for a salary? I never answer it.
Correct.
I've never had anyone give me any pushback on that either.
They won't, and they're getting a little bit more creative in terms of you forcing you to put something into that field. So you just have to know $1, whatever number of characters that field holds, figure out what that is and put that in.
I love it.
Even if it's $50, they'll know that it's not $50.
Right.
Typically thinking it's annualized salary, right? So figure out what that field is and put that number in, if it absolutely requires it.
I want to go to another quick question. We have an individual in our audience who's asking if you can speak to how one should approach leveraging an external job offer into a raise at your current place of employment. That's another really good question.
Absolutely. So here's the first thing you have to know is that you need to be prepared to walk away. Don't use it if you don't want to walk away, because the possibility is they will not counter. However, my recommendation would be consider all your accomplishments, more recent than not, but major accomplishments, and then recent accomplishments. Consider your last 3 years performance ratings. Most organizations do those things. And if they don't, even if it's an informal conversation, find letters or kudo memos that you have received. Be armed. Again, it's all about the information, because people have selective amnesia, especially when you're talking about money. So you want to make sure that you are able to remind them of all the things that you bring to the table. Think about how you have grown your career since you joined that organization, and how you have, what your contributions have been as a result of that growth in your career. And then have the conversation. Say this, and again, you have to be armed with market data. So the offer alone is not good enough, because now you can say, I have an offer, but I also have market data that tells me that this is what I am worth in this role that I am today. I'm not going, and one of the things they'll say is, well, this is a higher level job. Well, someone analyzing that is going to be great. It's going to be great for you, because you can leverage all 3 pieces of information to make the argument that, at this point, you should be given a raise, and based on the data, this is what it is. And most times, organizations will counter. It just has to do with how you approach the conversation.
So I'm going to just jump in really quick and allow you to let our audience members know the giveaway that you have for them. And then we're going to move into our first polling question. So you do have a giveaway that's valued at, I believe, $250.
Right. So what I will do is, for whoever is selected, I will provide you with your own personal compensation analysis, whether that's based on the job you have today, or the firm you're with today, or it's based on an opportunity that you are seeking or will seek in the future. To do the analysis, what is it worth, and then analyze your current experiences to provide you with a report. The report will include what the role is worth, or what you should be making based on the number of years you've been practicing. And then it's going to be location specific. So I may provide data for across the United States, but wherever it is that you're located right now, or where you are looking to relocate to, so that you will have specific data that you'll be able to use.
Excellent. And so that giveaway that's valued at $250 is going to go to the very first person that logged into this webinar this evening. All right.
Was it me?
Early bird gets the worm, right? So we're going to move into our question at this time. Kyle, you can place the poll on the screen.
Thank
So
you, Kyle.
you should see the first question on the screen. Do you have your estate, succession, and retirement plan in place? And just answer yes or no and submit.
Listen, I didn't have mine completely done until very, very recently. So, but I'm happy to say yes.
No, this is
Winter,
good because
did Shirley do that for you?
She didn't. I wish I had met her before. Well, you know what? You got to do it all the time. I'll do it with her next time.
we had one audience member that said yes, but only because she's a licensed advisor. So,
Oh.
yeah, so that gives us a great segue into our next panelist, Shirley Kegler. Shirley, we're so happy to have you with us. And as I mentioned, you've been practicing law for 45 years, and you're a partner in the estate planning group at your firm. Please tell us the type of services that you provide in that area of estate succession and retirement planning, and how can these services be helpful to our members? Like, what can you do for us to help us navigate through all the phases in our lives? Because our members are in so many, we're so diverse. We have members who just started out. We have members who are in the middle of their career, members who are closer towards retirement. We have members who are in private practice, those who are in corporate in-house, and those who are working in a government setting as DAs. So we are now sitting back and listening for those wonderful practical tips that you can give us all. So,
well, I appreciate your lovely introduction, and certainly having met and worked with you in the city of Detroit. And you ask what kind of service that I provide for clients who come to me for estate planning, probate and trust administration, elder law questions. And I actually work with people from someone giving a birth to a new child, a baby, and then to end of life. And my oldest client that I worked with, she was 115 years old. We weren't sure. She couldn't remember exactly when she was born. So I have gone the full spectrum over the 45, going on 46 years of practice. And what do I offer clients? Something very simple that most of us in our lifetimes are not able to achieve. And I am very happy to be able to say very simply, I offer peace of mind. It's like the elephant in the room is yours having your estate plan not done, and it needs to be done. And what I do is work with clients in a way that allows them to eat the elephant one bite at a time. And I'm going to go over with you just very briefly how we get from point A to point B and why it's important. And for those of you, and I don't see the poll results, who have done your estate plans, wonderful. But I can assure you that in a year or two, sometimes it's 6 months, 5 years, as life changes, that plan needs to be changed, modified to fit the change in circumstances. And all of the people who are listening to this, they are, there's no one who's not exempt from the need to have their estate plan done. So it applies to everyone here. And again, getting from point A to point Z, those are the kind of people I work with. And so the dynamic is great. The work is exciting, and there are no two estates that are ever alike. So depending on marital status, size of the estate, your age, all of you need to have an estate plan in some form that's going to change over your lifetime. And how do these two areas tie together? I fit so neatly in between talking about compensation and then growing your wealth and managing wealth on the other end. And they do tie together, especially when you think of compensation. Lilly Ledbetter proved that to us with the Fair Pay Act. So the more money you're able to negotiate, the higher your retirement and savings will be, the Social Security, and all the benefits that accrue to you and that next level that you can get to. So this is an extremely important discussion to have when you're talking about building wealth. What we do in estate planning is tie together very nicely with financial planning. We need to know what you own and how you own it. And most people coming in have not realized what kinds of things are considered assets or part of their estate. Most people think about disposable income, what their earnings are, and that's how they determine their wealth. But wealth includes the value of the equity in your condo, your home, your insurance policy proceeds, retirement accounts, intellectual property, your PLLC, your all kinds of things that you may own. And then we find assets. People come to me and then they'll talk about what grandma owned in the South, and then it's still in dad's name, and then it's going to become their property. Heir property is extremely important and has extraordinary value in many estates. If you're writing a book, if you've made a discovery, the patents are worth things. So intellectual property is extremely important. So what I do is help people identify what they own and how they own it. And we do a lot of personal financial housekeeping to make sure all the legal aspects of their assets are complete, whole, and also that they are enforceable. So we tidy it up. So in the event of a disability or following death, the children, those who you leave behind, don't have to spend extraordinary amounts of money clearing up a cloud on title, making sure ownership in a partnership as they had anticipated it to be, fighting in court about who gets what and when they get it. And another important aspect of estate planning is to make sure that those causes that are important to you, that you support, and a number of them were mentioned that Gail is involved in, making sure that they continue even after you're gone. So unless it's in writing, unless you have the written instructions identifying who's going to be responsible, who gets the assets, when they get them, what the purpose of them is, that does not work. It just happens to go to who the state decides would be your heirs. So making sure we identify through the documents that are part of an estate plan, wills, trust, powers of attorney, though both for healthcare, and in this time of COVID, it's even more important to think about people who were walking around today, and in 2 weeks, they could be in a position where they're not able to communicate or speak. Who's speaking for them? And so we don't want that to be a situation where it's to chance that the loudest person in the room is going to be the one who makes decisions about your health or how your finances are going to be handled. Because when you wake up, you want to make sure your things are the way you left them. And if there were really astute people, they might be in a better position than when you left them. So it's important that we organize your assets. Actually see them. The estate planner should always ask to see the underlying assets, not just what you fill out on the paper, but look at the deeds, look at the timeshares, look at the policies, make sure they understand if you're getting stock options in a corporation, making sure they understand when the options would be paid, how they're paid, what happens if you leave the company, if you leave for cause or without cause, or following death, how does your family benefit? And I still don't see the poll. I don't know if that did come up on how many people here percentage-wise have done their plans, but we'll ignore that for the moment, because I know statistically about 42% of the people do not have an estate plan. And what's even more frightening here is here it says it's 32% have a plan, 68% do not, under the poll that we took. And so it's found that in our community, in the African-American community, that number, the one I gave, the 42%, is what you see just in the general population, but it's a much smaller number in our community. And the frightening part of this is also that people who have children under 18, 36%, only 36% of them have an estate plan. And that's the only way you're going to be able to identify who will be the guardian of your children if you're not able to continue raising them until 18. Most of us know that 18 is not the number anymore. Our kids are probably not ready till they're 24, 25 years old. So you need someone who's going to be in their life if you're not able to continue. So having a plan, make sure that you identify who's in charge if you can't take care of things during your lifetime. For many people, younger people, it could even be that you just graduated from law school, you got your first car, you now have your first down payment on a condo, and then you're starting to build up money in a 401k. But you're single, so what happens? Who's going to be the person who's going to take care of things if, heaven forbid, there's an accident and for a short term you're out of circulation, out of pocket, and can't do things? Will it be your mom or your dad or both? And if your parents are divorced and the divorce was a result of a lot of conflict and animosity, then which one of them? Because if they're trying to jointly take care of things for you, the same issues that arose during the time of the parting will arise when they're taking care of your things. So making sure at the beginning of life, and even for my clients who have children in college after they're 18, to make sure that you can even get in the dorm room or the apartment if your child is something happens to him. It makes it very important to have something as simple as a power of attorney so that you can take care of affairs for them. And the operative word I keep saying is written instructions, because it's not what mom told you that she wanted you to do if she couldn't, or what your brother said he wants put in place or in the partnership agreement, the verbal one. It's the operative word, again, is what's in writing. That's going to control and determine how things will happen. And the role of the estate planner is to help you work through what it is that you want and ensure that you got the desired outcome by examining those individuals and things that are important to you and how we will put it in place so they're enforceable when you can no longer speak for yourself. And the one thing that happens, and Gail will talk about that in the financial planning aspect, we spend a lot of time building wealth. We spend a lot of time thinking about, oh, next year I'm going to increase my salary by 10%, I'll have more to put away. But the risk to building wealth is not having written instructions to let the advisor know what to do, how to do it. And then it's also the situation of not having things organized so that if someone has to step in your shoes, it takes them several months, meetings with accountants, attorneys, and sometimes going to court to get the outcome that you want. So I tell people that if you can find everything you own and all the information and about the beneficiary designations and where your deeds are, how much money you have in the bank, what your investment account is worth today. And you can do all of that and get it back to me in a week. Then we got a lot going on. We've made a head start. But sometimes it takes people 6 to 8 months before they can find some of the documents that are needed to get the job done. Now, if necessary, I can always help locate that, but it gets more costly in that process of finding and locating assets and fixing them. But it's much less expensive to do it on the front end than having other people trying to do it on the back end for you. So
what is the average cost for a basic, just basic services for those of us who are just getting started? Well, and then how long does that typically, I know it depends on the individual circumstances, but how long does it typically take? And would you recommend having a specific, like, not just waiting until there's a life-changing event to see the person, your advisor, but having like regular check-ins?
Well, the cost I would hesitate to state, because it's going to depend on the kind of work that's involved, and also based on the assets that are involved, as well as the family dynamic. Blended families, and that's a term I use when someone has a situation where they're his, hers, and ours. So there may be children from different relationships. That kind of planning is, of course, very different. Or if there's special needs, you have an adult disabled child, that requires some special planning. If the individual is living in a community property state, California or Washington or Texas, those are different situations. And then it depends on the kind of work they're doing and their assets. So all of it is identifying, again, the family situation and knowing the amount of time that's involved. A business owner, it could take a lot longer, because not only are you working with their individual assets, you also, because their time is spent at work and they're investing a lot of their earnings into their company, you want to make sure everything is airtight there. So you're spending time with one of their assets. And so the estate planning for a single person, married person, a seasoned individual, and the kind of professional, it varies, and it varies across the country. What I would look at is the kinds of questions that are being asked. If an attorney, you walk in the door, they ask you your name, what you own, what's in the bank, and then they write up something for you. You come back the next appointment, you're all done. That could be that $500 will that probably won't get you very far. So I would say that the attorney needs to sit down with you, examine all those assets, and then talk about your objectives and your family and what your goals are. And then after they do that, they provide a draft of those documents to you with flow charts, and they explain everything in it. So you'll know when it's time to make a change or addition or modification. Most of us work with the financial advisors who are going to be with that client on an annual basis, and their tax accountant, their CPA, who are seeing them annually. And once we develop that team, I usually get a call. Gail knows that she calls me if something's changed. She said,
That's
hey,
fantastic.
you know what happened? You need to call her, or I'm bringing her over to see you. So that's the kind of teamwork that's required if you're really going to go to an estate planner who's holistically looking at things for you to get the best outcome.
That's great to hear. I'm glad that you described that, because I at this point now know that I need a team. And I think many of our members definitely appreciate what you've shared. I'm sure you have a little bit more to share, and I'll let you do that, but I also want you to let our attendees know that you have an outline that has a wealth of information that you are also going to provide, that will be available for them as well, with the details, many of which you're speaking of today.
And the important thing to know is what goes into the planning process. Knowing the value of your estate, what's in it, what's counted, and then what the outcomes are if things aren't in order is extremely important. And that's what the questionnaire, the confidential estate planning questionnaire, prompts you to respond to those, all of those questions and provide that information. I'm happy to provide that to the NBA Women Lawyers section so that you can access that document, which will allow you to start information gathering. And then it also will prompt you to look for the things that you just have not looked over for years and years and wonder why. Why? Ask the attorney, wherever you are in the country that you might select, how they analyze the estate and how they're going to work with you. For many individuals, they don't understand the part that relates to the transfer tax, because we are familiar with the income tax, but the wealth, or some say death tax, the transfer tax on some estates can be extraordinary. And many people are not aware of how that might impact their estate. So the attorney that you go to, it's going to depend on what you earn, what you've inherited, what you may inherit, and what kind of assets that you hold, and where you want to go. So again, working with the team is extremely, extremely important. And I'll provide that information so that it'll at least give you a head start on the information gathering and that first meeting you'd have with an estate planner.
We have a question for you from one of our local attorneys in Detroit, Naomi Oglesby. I think you know her very well. She wants to know if you handle litigation involving estates.
And that's a good question, because if we do it right in the beginning, if it's a plan that I've worked on, a number of my colleagues might have worked on, we have very clear instructions on the outcomes, what we want, what the individual wanted. So there's litigation that occurs many times after death, or when a person has become ill and not able to handle things, when family steps in and starts asking questions, or saying that mom always told me she wanted me to have this, or she wanted it that way. Or there are questions about undue influence, especially as people get older. Did they really mean to put that in? So yes, we do handle a lot of probate and trust litigation. Sometimes it's whether the documents are valid. Sometimes it's an interpretation of the document. If you don't know the kind of assets that are in the estate, you may not have provisions in there that will deal with them appropriately. So you have to get an order from the court, making sure that those assets can be managed. The instructions are going to be followed. And then there's a lot of contest. Sometimes I represent the trustee, the fiduciary, the person who's administering the estate. And other times I may be representing one of the beneficiaries who's not happy with what the fiduciary is doing, or maybe they're challenging the documents completely. So yes, there's a lot of litigation in this area.
I have a question.
Yes.
So, as an independent woman, is it okay for me to do my own estate planning separately from my husband, or do I need to be sure to have all of that combined? He needs to be there in the room while we're doing everything.
It depends.
Not that I'm hiding anything.
I have done a number of estates. We do a prenuptial, so that before getting married, we identify what the couples are going to what the couple will do with their assets. But if they're married and there's a difference of opinion on how to manage assets, or maybe you're married to the spender type and you're the saver type, so you will have documents that reflect your perspective, your view, and how you want your assets distributed. Or if you inherited assets, you inherited a family business, or you may be inheriting that. You may want an estate plan that's separate from your spouse's. And just because you're married doesn't mean that everything is exactly, you agree on everything. So you may have a disagreement about how things should be done, who should be in charge. And then many of us are accumulating separate assets. So I have done a lot of estate plans where I've only done one in the couple. And sometimes I'm totally conflicted out of it because there's been a divorce, or there's something else that happened, or they're in business, opposite businesses, or they're partners in business. And I cannot represent both of them and only do one because the advice will be different. But in most estate plans, and I've not lost any couples yet, there could be some infighting while we're getting things resolved. So I might have to sit in the middle of them pre-COVID, but at the end, we're all together. I haven't lost a couple yet when we started working together, but it's been a boxing match sometimes. And most of it's about who's going to raise the kids. He says his sister, and she says her brother. So who's going to be the guardian? That's a hard one to work through sometimes.
Okay, we have a few more
thank you so
questions
much
for you. So from one of our board members, Doreen and Rachel, can you speak to the role children play in estate planning for their aging parents? Meaning if your parents are youthfully in their 70s and 80s, can the children play an active role in the estate planning process, or is that not preferred? Very good question.
In many cases, it's not preferred. Generally, children are not in the room. They may bring mom or dad to the conference, but the parents should be able to articulate what their desires are, what they want, and are acting in their own free will. That's to ensure that there's not a claim of undue influence or by one of the children who isn't in the room. And it allows the parents to be able to speak freely. Now, many of the children, as the parents have aged, will help them pull together the information, but the document should contain the parents' wishes. And most parents, if they're 2 or 3 kids, don't want to hurt any one of them. So they may speak differently depending on who's in the room. So to make sure that we're getting a free expression, it's always best to have meetings without the parents in the room. I'm sorry, the children in the room with the parents.
Right. Okay, I'm going to go to one additional question before we get to the next polling question. I think we have a few more coming in. And panelists, you are free to also check the Q&A in chat, and you can respond directly as well. Have you worked with clients where the beneficiary is in another country, and this particular attendee states that she lives in the US on her own and her mom is in Argentina, no kids or partners?
Yes, I do a lot of international work where the families are not all together. China, Great Britain, Israel. I've had people all over the world, people who own assets in other countries. Sometimes we do engage counsel in those other jurisdictions to assist with that locale, the work that's there. But when I work with an individual who has that situation, they can leave assets to parents or to others in other countries. But we always check with that outside jurisdiction, local counsel there, to find out if there are any special rules. And then there are some countries where there might be restrictions on the government monies going out of the US. And then another area that's of concern is when individuals who have children and they move out of the country and they're living there to work, and they don't have a residence in Michigan or some state here. They were to die, they'd want to come back, but what jurisdiction would determine where the estate would be probated? where would their children go? So those are international issues that we deal with on a fairly regular basis. And a lot
Great.
with Canadian. We do a lot of Canadian cross-country work.
Great. So we've heard from our compensation specialist on how to get the money that we deserve, and from our estate planning specialist on how to protect the money and that we've gotten. And we're going to move after this next and final polling question to Gail Perry Mason, who's going to give us some great tips on how to grow that money. So we are ready for the next question. So check your screen. Question number 2, do you have a financial advisor? So just click on the screen and submit your answer.
I'm excited to see the results.
Yes. So segueing into our final panelists, we're so grateful to have you with us, Gail. Thank you so much for joining. And as I mentioned earlier, Gail is a best-selling author of the book, Girl, Make Your Money Grow. I love the title, A Sister's Guide to Protecting Your Future and Enriching Your Life. The poll is up. So we have 37% do have a financial advisor and 63% do not.
Wow.
So that's pretty much expected. So if you would just share with us some of your key points and tips on what we need to do to make sure that we have our financial households in order.
Okay, first of all, to get your financial household in order, let me just tell you one thing. I saw the poll where a lot of people do not have a financial advisor. And it's okay. I mean, I grew up, and I don't know if anybody else grew up this way, but I grew up, you know, I was in foster care and eventually got adopted. And my mother was older. This was my financial advice from growing up at the kitchen table, was have a joint account with Jesus at the credit union. And that's it. Like only you and Jesus know about. I don't care if you're married or not, just have a joint account with Jesus. And that's it. So this was my, so I was like, oh, I don't even know. She said, oh, all that financial stuff, you don't need all that. Just you have a joint account with Jesus. And that's it. So that's all I knew. So let me just say this. So, but my mother, and I always thought she knew everything and she was right and all of that. And then until I started like, oh, whoa, then you worked in the financial service industry. And, you know, I got in the financial service industry a whole different way. And I was just brokerage firm hired me and that's all I knew. And I didn't know what they did. So anyway, fast forward, you know, I was receptionist and I'm a senior director. So what I ended up doing, I realized from my own life that we need a financial advisor, that everybody needs a personal board of directors. So I look at it as, I don't care who you are, what you're doing in your life. Like Shirley Kegler's on my board of directors. I think she's the best attorney in the world. Estate planning, everybody needs her on their personal board of directors. Like you need her. You are your chief life officer. So no matter what you do in your life. So I think financial tips that we all need, first and foremost, is we got to know where our money is going. And none of our money should ever be homeless. Like it should have a home no matter what. So what you do is put a GPS on your money. So a lot of people are like, oh, I make great money, or I don't make enough, or I don't make ends meet, or whatever it is. We got to know where our money is going, no matter how much money you make. So put a GPS on your money. Whether it's you get mint.com, I don't know if anybody on here uses Mint, put in the chat box if you use Mint. I love Mint. That's a great way to see where everything's going. Another thing, all your receipts and what you're doing. I think another person you need on your personal board of directors, not person, but Evernote. Does anybody ever use Evernote? Anybody ever use that? Evernote is where you keep all your documents, everything, and it organizes it for you. So write down Evernote. That's another thing. Another thing, another app you need. You need apps. Well, in today's world, you need apps on your board of directors. You need people and you need apps. So you also need NerdWallet. So once you get your finances, say, okay, I know where money is going. And then what I want everyone to do is like, you know what? My money is going to food, this, I'm eating up my kids' college education, I'm doing this, I'm doing whatever it is, because I spend so much money on eating out. So, or now, getting takeout or Uber Eats or whatever, look at where your money is going. It will add it up. Mint will give you a financial report card every Friday. Nerd Wallet will do things. So what I want you to do is to start saying, you know what? I'm my chief life officer. I need to start making some layoffs. I want everybody on here to take a mind your own business day. On that mind your own business day, because attorneys don't get a chance to take a mind their own business day. You guys always have people calling, doing this, doing that. And then when you're not working, you have family members asking for favors. Can you do this estate plan? Can you do this? Can you help me with this issue? I know that, that people always call on you. So you need to take a time to just mind your own business. I take an hour every Monday morning to mind my own business. And that's when I'll say, okay, I need to get this in order. I need to reduce my insurance. I need to make some layoffs. I need to lay off some cable channels. I need to lay off some kids. I need to lay off some, whatever it is. I need to lay off something. So you need to lay off some items in your life. So everybody on here is totally different. So what I want you to do is look at where you need to make some layoffs, because you can't afford not to afford a Shirley Kegler in your life. You can't afford, it's like, oh, I can't afford this right now. I can't do this right now. No, make some layoffs, it won't even be a sacrifice to make layoffs. So what I want you to do, another thing too, then I want you to make money while you're sleeping. Try to figure out different apps that are in your life now. It's like, you know what? I do need a financial advisor, but if you don't have one, what I want you to do, especially as women, oh my God, this is one, and I am not, affiliated with Elevest at all, but has anybody ever went on Elevest, their website? Oh, okay, you have to, it's a female who left Merrill Lynch, and she started her own company called Elevest. I don't care whether you have $50 a month to invest, or I don't care whether you have $100,000 to invest. This lady is so awesome. She has everything set up, and she has financial coaches. She's really into inclusion, diversity, dealing with African-American women, dealing with everyone. She will they have so many financial coaches that will work with you. So look at Elevest's website. Look at them. Another one is Acorn website. So I want you to look at Acorn. Another one for automatic investing, look at Stash. So start looking at different websites and we'll say, hey, while I'm going to Starbucks or whatever you want to call it, $5, $3, whatever you want to call it, go, and the difference between your $5 or your $10 or whatever, you will, that can go into like an Acorn or a Stash. And wherever you go, the one thing I can say, and I know we talked about negotiating earlier, which is so important, but let me tell you what to do. If you're going to go to not a law firm, but say go to corporate America and get a job somewhere, or get, try to negotiate with, with your salary or different, just when you go there, the first thing to do, this is what I tell my sons. So I have 3 sons. I say, if you're going to go interview with Google, we're going to buy Google stock. So before you go in the meeting, you say, hey, I own the company. If you're going to go and interview with wherever you go, it's like, hey, own the company. And another thing too, especially as attorneys, oh my God, do you know the one thing I will say the companies that you love. And this is one thing, Shirley, I think you are a prime candidate for this. And Kim, I'm looking at you, you are like amazing too. And then Winter is just balanced. She's Miss Balance. She can do everything. I can tell. So, but especially being a mom of 4. So, but one thing that especially you should do is try to look at your career and say, hey, what am I going to do financially later on? We got to work smarter and not harder. Sit on publicly traded boards. You guys are attorneys. You guys are amazing. You guys are young, beautiful, amazing, everything. So use your gifts to say, hey, you know what? I kind of like makeup. So things that you have nothing to do with it. Let me look at Estee Lauder. Do they have any African Americans on the board? It's a class at Northwestern University about how to sit on boards. It's boardroom bound. There's so many different places. Do you know how much they pay for you to sit on the publicly traded board? $150,000 a year to go to one meeting. One meeting. That's it. So you look at not only, so you have to prepare yourself. This is what I want you to put together. You're your chief life officer. Put together your personal board of directors, whether it's a life coach, a mentor, an accountant, a bookkeeper, Evernote, who's going to keep all your business cards, your notes, everything together for you, and all of your tax information, because you need that accountant. You need a real estate person, a mortgage person. You need all these people on your board of directors. They don't even have to know that they're on there. I mean, like Warren Buffett's on mine. He has no clue. So they don't even know that Shirley's on mine. She didn't even know it until I just told her just a few minutes ago. So you have to get all these people on your personal board of directors. And then that's how you can like say, hey, I need to just call this person up. I had to text my accountant while I was here and ask him a quick question. So, but we need these people on our personal board of directors to get our life together. And we can't do it all, especially attorneys thinking, your moms, your daughters, you're taking care of your parents, you're taking care of all these different people, nieces, nephews, everyone. You can't do everything. So you have to figure out, if I need a financial advisor, maybe I can set up a 529 trust for a niece or a grandchild or this or that. We need somebody to talk to. I can't do everything. Shirley can't do everything, but together we could have everybody's life together. So, and there's so many different resources out here. And that's why we do need a financial checkup. Once I was listening to Shirley and I said, yeah, I got my succession plan together. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, hold up. I better change my answer and change it to, we need financial checkups. Just like we need health checkups every year, we need a financial checkup every single year. So anyway, I'm just talking. So you had probably another question for me as I'm just rattling on.
No, this is great. I'm taking notes. Yeah, so it's great. So please continue. Because after you've finished telling us a bit more about what we need to do in this area, I wanted to give you a bit of time to talk about some of the initiatives that you're working on, but this is so good. Please.
Okay. Well, thank you. So what I want you to do, as I mentioned, take a mind your own business day, first and foremost, set up your personal board of directors, but actually call them. And especially now that we have Zoom and everything, you can just call and ask a quick question. Make the layoffs in your life. And then another thing I want you to do is to actually, as you know, this is a women's, I know it's a women's webinar. We love to shop. And what I want you to do too is say, okay, if we shop or we have to do something, we need to start doing things wisely. So we need to look at different things, there's so many different things out here that will pay us back money, whether it's Racketeer, whether it's the Penny Hoarder. I want everybody to write this website down. It's called the Penny Hoarder. They give financial tips every day on how to create more money, how to do that. And then the other thing I want you to do, say I don't even understand these financial markets. I don't know this. I'm too busy in my own world. I don't want to know about all the financial markets. Go to this, subscribe to this newsletter. It's absolutely free. Every morning it comes to you, called the Morning Brew. It sums up everything dealing in the financial world every single day. You can read it in 5 minutes. That's it. Every day, if you want to know what's going on in the financial world, it's called the Morning Brew. Look at it every single morning, and it will just break it down for you. Another thing I want you to do is look at your retirement accounts. Do your financial checkup with your retirement account. It's an 800 number. If you work for a corporation or you work for a law firm, they always have somebody in human resources or somebody can say, hey, how much will I need for retirement? And they can kind of calculate it for you. This is all free services. So on your Mind Your Own Business Day, call them up and let them know. And another thing I want to tell you, I don't know how many you can say in the chat box if you want to, but how many people are moms? That is the most difficult thing to do. I know if you're working full time and you have to take care of your parents, take care of the kids, married, whatever. When you have kids, you're broke. I'm serious. They will take your money. It's oh my God, I got to pay for college. I got to pay for this. I got to pay for that. And then because we're working all the time, it's oh, wait a minute. I need to, maybe if they want an iPhone, look, iPhones, I don't buy. So we got to look at, what are we buying for our children? What are we doing? We cannot keep spending all this money on our children. We cannot spend all this money, especially if you got young kids. We try to do things to overcompensate. Oh, I'm an attorney, I want to give them more than what I had. No. We got to teach them how to be, like we talked about legacy. Shirley Keller talked about leaving a legacy. No, our legacy is they got to work. They have to invest. They have to do different things. They have to learn. So what I want you to do, if you have children, I want you to get a jar and write on the jar, life. That means living in financial freedom every day. Make it a habit every day to make more deposits than withdrawals, and you'll never be in the negative. Show them every day, just start making deposits, $quarter, $1, whatever, and then that adds up. So not only if you're saving money, and maybe your spouse isn't saving money, or if he is saving money. So either way, if you can't do it together, then if you're saving money and everybody else is spending money, it doesn't matter. It just makes such a big difference. So I want you to be balanced. And because a lot of us, our moms, a lot of us are doing different things, and we feel, and everything is on us. We're the one that got to watch the kids all the time. We're the ones going to do everything. And then we're working all the time. So when it comes to finances, we have to take care. Take a moment. I don't care if it's half an hour. If you got to go, in a closet and just start writing down, like, what do you have to do? And make calls and do something. Make some layoffs. And if somebody's on your nerves, lay them off for a moment, and just lay them off and get that estate plan done. Do things. What Shirley Kegler is going to send out on what we need for our estate plan. Take a moment on your Mind Your Own Business Day and do that. Take a moment and look at these apps that I just mentioned, or check out Elevest, or check out different places like that. So I'm sorry, I'm just going.
We'll try to get a list
on and on.
We'll try to get a list of all the apps and make those available as well.
You know what? I can.
Attendees. Yeah, that would be fantastic.
Do that. So from Mint to Good Budget, I know a lot of people probably use a lot of these different apps already, especially if they're younger, and they are amazing. I would not, because on Mint, and that's another thing, when you go for your estate plan and everything, you can just show them the different things that they have already organized for you. Evernote already organizes for you. So that's why I don't want you to, to actually get it. Organization is the key on your Mind Your Own Business Day. Financial organization is the key. Because Shirley Kegler will tell you that when you come to the office, it's like, oh my God, this is all over the place. That is the most difficult thing for everyone. And it does take 6 to 8 months. But I want you, starting now, starting today, take a Mind Your Own Business Day and start getting financially organized, doing financial checkups, starting now.
So that's really good information. Taking the Mind Your Own Business Day is something that I know I'm going to start to do. But at what point do you recommend that we actually schedule the appointment with someone such as yourself for the financial advisor or investment advisor?
So I think the first thing that you do is get your financial statements together. So get your financial statements together, and even look at, people say, oh, I'm not even paying attention to my credit score. Look at your credit score, look at different things too, but get all your financial statements together. Whether you worked at a firm for like a year and you have a retirement plan there, get that statement, know where it is, start consolidating everything so you won't get so many statements in the mail. So get all your statements together and then say, well, maybe I need someone to look over this to see where I'm going. It doesn't cost one thing to go and ask somebody to look everything over. And then interview 2 or 3 people if you want to. Just interview them and say, hey, can you help me do this? Like, people do different things. Some people do, depend on their license, whether they're Series 7 or insurance license or whatever. Talk to someone who has all the licenses. And in this way, you could say, hey, then that is just not, I'm going to sell you an annuity. I'm going to sell you this. I'm going to sell you that. No, always talk to someone who has all the licenses, and then have the team, have them, talk to your attorney, have them talk to your accountant, have them say, this is how much I can put in my IRA and when you could put it in. So have them talk, and how much more you can put in your plan at your office or at your job, wherever you're employed, or if you're self-employed. Do you need a simplified employees pension plan? Do you need a Roth? What do you need if you're self-employed? A lot of attorneys that are self-employed are like, whoa, wait a minute, I got to pay into Social Security, I got to pay into my retirement, I need to do this. So this is where all of this comes into, where you need a bookkeeper, or you need someone that can help you with this, you know, someone who's handling your payroll. So this is so important when it comes to either being an attorney, a solo practitioner, and everything else. So, but I think you should meet with them whenever you get everything organized. And even if you don't have it organized, just call someone and talk to them. It's okay.
And so the question that came in from one of the attendees is, how do you know if you have the right accountant or financial planner if you're not financially savvy, or if you're too busy to follow up with everyone? I think you kind of answered that by saying that we need to make sure that they are licensed and that they are, you know, have all the credentials.
Yeah, and then it's not even, and then who can really become part of your financial life? So when you have a financial advisor, like most of my clients have had them for years and years and years, for over 25 years. And I'm part of their life, I know, and now their children's life, and then their parents' life. I mean, so I have been part of their life for years. So it's kind of like you become family. And then so see who you can connect with, see who you can work with. Because sometimes it's not all about, it is about the licenses, but also it's about who you can get along with and who could see your goals and can help you reach your goals. Say, hey, these are my goals. And sometimes you might outgrow them, because sometimes you might want someone who can just, take a lot of risk and do different things like that. I don't do that. And I let them know up front. I handle mostly, a lot of women, a lot of African Americans, a lot of, different people, families, and I'm not going to take a whole lot of risk. There's a lot of people who take the more risk and more reward. So I'm not that financial advisor for them. And I'll let them know, like, that's not me, but let me refer you. I know someone who will do it. So definitely just talk to people. And you have a gut feeling. People have that. They know.
Okay, that's great. You spoke a bit about the importance of making sure that your children are saving and that they're moving in the right direction. Tell us a little bit about the Money Matters for Youth program.
Yeah, so every summer for the last 26 years, I haven't had a vacation. I take a group of a few hundred kids and divide them up like stocks, small cap, mid cap, and large cap. So I divide them up, and then they all learn everything that you learned today with putting together your personal board of directors, even how to negotiate, because they actually negotiate in selling products. Because first thing they learn is the word opportunity, and the word opportunity is the word unity. Every cap, small cap, mid cap, large cap, they start their own business. They end up, and then they start their own business, they sell products, and then first thing they learn parliamentary procedure. They learn how to shake hands. They learn how to have business etiquette. They learn how to play golf, because most business deals are made on the golf course. They learn so many different things when it comes to, and then they actually pick their own stocks. Like this last year, we had this Black Santa event with Baron Davis, and we had stocking stuffers. So they ended up having to pick, like, what stock do they want? Instead of getting a PlayStation, they pick Sony stock. Instead of getting an Xbox, they got Microsoft stock. And instead of getting an iPhone, they got Apple stock. That was their stocking stuffer. So we try to teach them how to be owners of companies versus consumers. We also teach, and it's fun, we have money baseball, how to go from one base to the next. We teach them the recipe of success. We teach them cooking lessons. So we teach them how a portfolio has just ingredients, just like, bread pudding or something like that. So we teach them how to make food. We teach them everything, the life skills and things like that. So I love doing that. Like I said, that's what I do for life. I love doing that more than anything, is teaching our youth. But let me tell you one thing, they are the best stock pickers in the world. I mean, my young people can pick stock because they know what's coming out. Oh, let me just tell you, Alta, this or that. I mean, they will go on, and they will tell us exactly what to buy. I'll sometimes write down, okay, and I will go and research it. And I'm like, oh my God, these kids they will do such a great job in telling us what to buy, because they know what they love and what they're going to buy. So I always listen to them, and I have them matter of fact, they just did TikTok videos this last week on what stocks, and they were just talking about I love Peloton or this or that, the Nike or Under Armour, whatever it was. They just went on and on and on and on with the stocks, and they did TikTok videos on being an owner versus a consumer. And it was just wonderful just seeing them do that. So,
So
and then
how could, if
you
I'm,
never met a poor giver, that's one thing. Because Shirley Kegler will teach you, like in your estate planning, you got to give back. And the one thing,
that's so
you never
true.
met a poor giver, so they learn the 10-10-80 rule that you got to give 10%.
I love that. So if our members are interested in having their kids get involved in the program, is that possible? I know the program is based in Detroit, but I do know that it's nationally known, and that I think that there was a huge waiting list, right, to get in.
Yeah, there's a waiting list. I take my children to shareholders meetings. So we ended up having an opportunity to go to Warren Buffett's Berkshire shareholders meeting. We ring the bell. We do a lot of different things. So, and then, so the waiting list is, the email is moneymatters1996@gmail.com. We have a Money Matters Facebook page. So definitely reach out. We normally have it, we had it virtually this last year. It was amazing. It went all the way to Africa this year. So it was just, we had more young people in it. This time I'm trying to do a hybrid maybe. So I'm trying to figure out how we could do that, because I do want to see some of our young people. So I'm just going to see how we're going to move forward with it. But yeah, if they want to, if you're interested in Money Matters for Youth, it is just, it's my passion. Is what I love to do. So it's definitely, because I know everybody has a passion, but this is my passion, is teaching our young people how to be better than me. I want them to have better credit scores, better opportunities, better resources, and that's my goal in life.
Great. So if I guess to wrap it up in a nutshell, what would you say maybe the top 3 or 5 items we would need to have or do or work towards to make sure that we're making our money grow after we get it and protect it? I know you mentioned using those apps. Having a budget, I think, is something that you've talked about in the past.
The budget is the key. Budgeting is one thing, and then making your money. Once you work for your money, you got to make it work for you. It's not how much money you make, it's how much money you keep. So act your wage. Live below your means. If you live below your means and act your wage, if you look at everybody who's wealthy, that's exactly what they do, because there's a big difference between being wealthy and being rich. So, but being wealthy, and Shirley will tell you, most of our wealthy clients, they save a lot. So what you need to do is just a little bit at a time. I mean, that's one thing. And create other avenues of income. Create other avenues of income, whether it's real estate, whether it's, buying stock, whether it's buying different things. So just look at whether it's intellectual property, whether it's starting another business on the side, whether it's starting a mediation business. That's big now, a mediation business. Whether it's sitting on a publicly traded board, have other avenues of income. I think we don't need to shop on Fifth Avenue as women. We need to have 5 avenues of income is what we need to do. So I would say have other avenues of income, make your money work for you, and you work hard for your money, it should work harder than you do. When you go on to sleep at night, because that's what I have my kids do. I buy them all pillowcases, and on their pillowcase, they have to write what is making money while they're sleeping on their pillowcase. So that's one of our activities that we have to do. We have to plant a financial garden. So when you go to sleep tonight, think about it. What is working for you while you're sleeping? If you don't get up the next day, especially if you're a sole practitioner, you go like, oh my God, if I don't get up and do this brief, if I don't get up and get ready for this deposition, if I don't get up and do other stuff, like, oh my God, like this is how I get paid, is by doing this. And so and that's so much stress. So with all that stress in your life, you got to figure out what else can I do to have passive income. So I want you to relieve a lot of the stress, because that is one of the most difficult things, is us dealing with stress. And you guys as attorneys, oh my, I don't even know how you do it. And during this pandemic, Zoom, and then you got to read all that stuff. I would have like, oh my God, I feel like I got ADD as it is. Like, oh Lord, I'd be like, oh, I can't read all these briefs and all this stuff.
We have another really good question for you, and it's from Tiffany Buckley Norwood, who's one of our past presidents of the De Augusta Striker Bar Association, and she's asking if you have any any other tips for getting on a corporate board?
Okay, yes. Talk to people who are on, if you know anyone on a corporate board, have them introduce you. Right now, it's a lot of venture capitalists that are like buying different companies. They are looking for people to be on corporate boards. So if you know someone in a venture capital fund, if you know someone, it's all about relationships. Talk to them. So not only that, but then groom yourself. Sit on like a few nonprofit boards now. Like I sit on a board of a hospital. I sit on two hospitals right now. I sit on a lot of different, I sit on a ton of boards right now, but on Detroit Development Fund, all these different economic development funds. So I'm grooming myself to sit on publicly traded boards. So what I want you to do, and then another thing I wish you all could do, this would be huge. You can also like own the stock, go to the board meetings, like 1 year. Shirley, I think, did you go with us and went to Sarah Lee shareholders meeting? I don't know if you went with us. So I ended up buying Sarah Lee, which owns Coach and all this. I took a busload of women from Detroit to Chicago. We walked in there and all of us, you get to vote. So you get to vote just like you vote anything else. You can come together as an organization and say, hey, I want women to sit on this board, you know, Estelade or whatever. Do you know that how powerful that could be if you guys did something like that? We all bought the stock and we all said, I want this person to do this. We have more power as women than we believe we know. So I think I'm going to take this class at Northwestern. I am going to do that. That's what I'm going to do. That's my last step. And then they pick people from there. And this is another organization called Boardroom Bound. I mean, talk to people. I'm talking to, you know, Melody Hobson. When I first got into business, you know, we end up working together. You know, right now we're great friends now. So Melody Hobson is a good connection to sit on boards. You know, different people. There's all these different connections that you have. So start writing it down. On your Mind Your Own Business Day, write down who sits on corporate boards. Look at them. Well, I might know them. I might know this person. You know, Roz Brewers from Detroit. You know, on Walgreen. I'm like, oh, it's a Black woman now over Bath and Beyond. You know, just on a note, congratulations. I just want gratitude is everything. Send people notes. Communicate. Just handwritten notes. Congratulations on your position. Here, I'm attorney at blah, 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 you know, whatever. Just send it to them. Then send them an email on LinkedIn, whatever. Let them get to know who you are. Then let them know one day, hey, let me know if you get any board positions. You know, so start just dripping on people. Start doing that.
This has been so fantastic. I just want to thank each of our panelists. I can't believe it's 8 o'clock already. The time has gone by so fast, but this was truly a very, very enjoyable and an educational hour and a half. We truly did get practical tips on how to get that money that we deserve, how to protect that money that we get, and then how to grow it. So I did place the contact information for our 3 panelists in chat so that you can reach out to them. I know that there are more questions that are coming in for you all, so feel free to reach out, and then we'll circle back with those of you who've registered and get the list that Gail referenced, and also the additional information that Shirley Kegler is going to provide for
That's
all
right.
of us.
We have the book.
And oh my goodness, we cannot forget that. So thank you very much.
So I forgot. I had it sitting right here. So
Gail has her giveaway, which is her book, the fantastic book. Look at it. Look at the color.
I want it. I mean, I love that.
Girl, Make Your Money Grow. Thank you very much for that. So this particular giveaway, I have to read the full title again. Girl, Make Your Money Grow, a sister's guide to protecting your future and enriching your life. So that is going to go to the very first person who registered for this webinar and is also in attendance. So that's
it me?
That person will get this book, and so the MBA will give us those names following this session, and the information will be shipped out to you. So the book will be shipped, and we will get Lorraine will get in contact with you to provide you with her $250 value package. So, and we are a little bit over, but if there are any closing remarks from the panelists, just feel free to take a second as we wrap up? Just like maybe 10, 30 seconds. 30 seconds.
I'd like to say this has been a wonderful. Estate planning is my passion. And so those of you who have an interest in it, those of you who are would like to have a mentor who's been around the block a time or two, give me a call. I don't care where you are in the country. I'm happy to serve in that post for you. It's
Oh, that's so kind.
a worthwhile, very, very productive, satisfying area of practice.
That's great. Yeah, you are. Yeah, and you are the best mentor. You are the best. You are my hero, and I appreciate you so much. And I love the way you take care of my clients. So, and I just want to, yeah, I love you, and I just want to say thank you for having me today. It's been great. And Kim, thank you for reaching out. You are like amazing. Both moderators are amazing. You guys are beautiful inside and out. So I want to say thank you. It's great. I'm good on the panel with you, Shirley and Lorraine, both. So thank you so much. And I look forward to hearing from you guys.
Thank you again. And I just want to also
Kim, this is Lorraine.
Oh, hi, Lorraine.
I'm
Oh,
sorry,
thank you.
I am not on video, but I did want to say thank you so much for the opportunity. And to the attendees, just remember, ask for what you are worth, and never accept the first offer. Ladies, have a good evening.
Have a good evening.
Thank you.
And also, the webinar will be available on the National Bar Association website. So if you, we did have some questions, if there would be an opportunity to view this later. Yes, there will be on the website. So thank you again. And if you are not a member, I would definitely encourage you to join the National Bar Association if you are an attorney or a judge or a law student. And then also the Women Lawyers Division of the National Bar Association.
Yes.
Please
Join us.
do that. And again, we want to thank President C.K. Hoffler and Chair Sharon Bridges for the opportunity that they provided to us to provide this type of forum to our members and to those at large as well outside of our membership. This is a wonderful opportunity that's being brought to you by the Personal Development Committee. And we are definitely very excited to continue the work of bringing these types of programs to our members and to the community. And we want to thank you again to all of our panelists and to all of our attendees. Have a great evening.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Yeah.